Well, UFC 241 is in the books, guys, and listen, the heavyweight title fight sure meant something, right? But let's be honest, it's like we're giving anything away. If we say the star of the show was Nate Diaz all week long, you could see the numbers, you could see the traffic, you could see the fan interest. Nate Diaz returns, vintage form, doesn't even look like he took 3 years away. It's a great performance, and immediately everybody is saying, what comes next for Nate Diaz? There's options on the table, right? George Masvidal, I think, is a big one. He even said it. He went so far as to say that. Masvidal came in the back where I was working tonight, and he said, look, I know I said I want those other fights, but if you're going to pay me the big bucks, I'll fight King Kong, and that, Nate Diaz can be that guy. Conor McGregor is out there, but I don't know. I don't know what Conor McGregor's future is right now. There's other options on the table. I don't know. So let's start with you, Dave. What do you think? I mean, we're trying to match up Nate Diaz. He's saying, I'll fight as soon as next month, which I think we're all happy to hear that. So you're playing the matchmaker? Who does he fight?
So, see, going into tonight, I thought, like, if Nate Diaz won tonight, the trilogy fight with Conor McGregor would be a no-brainer because it was just an absolutely gigantic pair of fights, one apiece, and, people are going to want to see who wins it. But you got to listen to the people sometimes. Got to listen to the people. You heard these people here making just ear-splitting noises for Nate here at the Honda Center. You heard how the fans reacted when he called out Masvidal, and you even heard how earlier in the evening the fans responded when they showed Masvidal up on the big screen. So sometimes you just got to roll with what's happening organically, and I think given how hot Masvidal is, given that Nate just reasserted that who he is in this sport, I think that's a fight you got to make.
I think the other great point that factors into that is just the fact that there's not a lot of fights that make sense for Masvidal other than that, right? I mean, there's kind of that log jam up at the top of welterweight right now. Now, he did, by the way, say if Colby Covington happens to be the champion after he fights Kamaru Usman, hey, we may have been boys, but we're going to fight. Things got to be done. So, I don't know. All right, Mike, let's talk about you. I mean, he throws a name out there, Conor McGregor. Fights don't get any bigger than that, right? I mean, we're talking about the biggest money fights available. Conor McGregor fight would be pretty big for Nate Diaz as well. What do you think? Does that one make more sense?
Yeah, well, first I think poor Leon Edwards because he's not getting anything good coming out of this. But I think it just really depends on Conor McGregor. I mean, if he's around, he's available. You could do that fight anytime. I think that's part of it. Like, these guys would be coming off 5 losses in a row, and it would still be huge in the sport. But if Conor McGregor is, ready to come back, if he wants to fight soon, I think the time could be now to make that trilogy between these two. I mean, Nate says doesn't really seem he's too interested in fighting for the title or anything. He claims he didn't even know who Colby Covington was at the press conference, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, if Conor's around, if he's not, hitting guys in bars and stuff like that who look a little older, maybe they can do that fight. I mean, he's seemingly had to pay out a lot of money over the years, Conor McGregor, for his outside the cage thing. Maybe like Dana White said, it's time to come back and fight people legally. Yeah. And I think that's just a matchup that probably is pretty hot right now. Nate Diaz is coming off a big win. That could be a title eliminator for 155, even if it didn't happen at 155. And I just think it probably makes a lot of sense right now. Conor has been out for a while. It's a familiar matchup. They do as good a business together as anyone in UFC history. I mean, John Jones and Daniel Cormier are no longer an option for a pairing right now. So I don't think there's really any other bigger fight right now in the UFC than Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz 3. So if the UFC can put it together, if Conor's right, I think you do that.
I think you're right. I think that is really the biggest fight you can make. I think John Jones, Daniel Cormier 3 would have been the biggest fight you could make in the company right now, but we lost that tonight, right? Yeah, we lost that tonight. But as you said, I think the one thing that makes me lean towards Masvidal with you is that Conor's going to be a big star for a while, right? And I don't want to say that Masvidal's not going to be a big star, but God, he's been waiting 16 years to get to this point. Do you delay it and say, well, I'm sure he'll be okay next year or 18 months down the line? I don't think so. I think you got to strike while the iron is hot. You got to do that now. Any wild cards we didn't talk about, or is that really the only two available? I mean, I just don't see anything else out there outside of those two that really just strikes me.
Not at welterweight. At lightweight, I think a Poirier fight is still interesting for Nate Diaz. There's a little bit of heat there. Habib, he's been calling him out for years at this point. Nate looked absolutely massive in there tonight against Anthony Pettis. I don't know if he can make 155 again.
Dana White's been trying to tell you how big the guy is. What are you not listening, Mike? He's been laying it out there for years.
True story, yeah. But if he can make it down there, I think for a big money fight, he would be willing to do it. But I think at 170 it's got to be either Conor if he's willing to fight there or that Masvidal fight.
Yeah. I guess the good news about it is that Nate Diaz sounds like he wants to fight. It sounds like we're not going to have to wait another 3 years, so we'll just stay tuned and see who he gets matched up with. But if this week is any indication, whoever it is, it's going to be a big one.